Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about why I will not be buying a leasehold again. So just to give some context, my first buy to let was a leasehold which I've had for just under 2 years. So it's a 2-bed flat based in Gillingham. And over time, I've come to run into quite a few issues and problems, and it's put me off. And in this video, I'm going to cover 5 reasons why I will not be buying one again. And you want to stick around for the 5th one because that's probably the most detrimental. So the first reason is with a leasehold, you don't have actually that much control. So let's actually get into the definition of what a leasehold is. A leasehold is when you actually buy the property, but you don't own the land that it sits on. So typically these will be flats, and that will mean that although you own the actual flat, you don't own the rest of the building and ground that it sits on. So this can restrict any kind of things that you want to do with the flat or building because you don't own anything outside of that flat. Now, if you have a freehold, that means that you own the building but also the land as well. So there's a lot more things you can actually do with it. You will have less restrictions in terms of if you want to convert from a 2-bed to a 4-bed, for example, or if you want to do something to the land, if there's a garden that you have full control over what you want to do with it. When you have a leasehold, even if there's a communal area, you don't actually have really that much control around what can be done. The second thing is the cost. So typically when you own a leasehold, there are 2 types of costs that arise. Service charge, which is paid to the freeholder, and this is where they will carry out the maintenance and anything that needs to be done with regards to the building. And then there's a ground rent as well that you have to pay annually. Now, with service charge, this isn't the leaseholder's responsibility in terms of the actual works that needs to be done. However, it's their responsibility to pay it. So the freeholder can actually do what they feel is right with regards to the building, and then payments will then be required from the leaseholders on what the freeholder's actually done with the building. So in a lot of instances, the leaseholder isn't even consulted or agreed to any works that needed to be done for the cost that it needed to be done. However, the bill falls with them. So unexpected costs can arise and service charge bills can increase year on year on year. Recently, I was told by my freeholder that what they estimated the cost to be was far lower than what the actual cost is going to be. So there's a big discrepancy in what I'll typically be paying now on my service charge. So that's something to bear in mind as well. You don't actually have that much control over the work that's done on the building and the cost that's associated with that. The third thing is the restriction that actually comes with the property that you have. Now, this will typically differ from lease to lease, and different freeholders will have different contractual agreements with their leaseholders. However, in a lot of instances, subletting isn't allowed, letting it out to a tenant may not be allowed, and oftentimes Airbnb-ing out the property may not be allowed as well. Again, if you have a freehold, however, those things are a lot more easier to do because you own that house and there are less people that you will have to answer to, right? So typically if you have a freehold, provided that you have the right mortgage product with your lender, then you can actually either let it out as a HMO or buy to let or as a service accommodation as well. So the fourth thing is the lease expiry. So when you actually take on a leasehold, then you will be agreeing with the freeholder the number of years that you're actually able to have that property from them. And once that hits 0, then the property will actually go back to the freeholder. So you need to actually ensure that there's a substantial amount of time on that lease. And anything typically below 80 years, a lot of lenders won't actually lend to because of the short time left on that lease. So the lower the lease is, the less valuable the property becomes, and the more costly it is to actually extend that lease as well. And the last thing is leaseholds typically, because of all these constraints, can be harder to sell and harder to actually sell for the price that you want to sell it at as well. And if you do want an exit strategy, then that you have to bear that in mind as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and you understood a little bit about why I won't buying a leasehold again, especially as the regulations are at the moment. Now, if the regulations do change and they're more favorable towards leaseholders, then my stance on this could also change as well. But as it stands now, I won't be buying a leasehold anytime soon. So if you've enjoyed this video, do give it a like. And if you found this video of any value or any other video on this channel, then do subscribe as well. And until next time, happy investing.